Welcome everybody to round 4 of the 2021 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship. We are here once again after yesterday's race. We're back for another stream, of course. This is the second of two races from the American doubleheader, and this time we are at the fictional Dodge Island Street Circuit for the running of the Miami ePrix. And just for clarity, no, this is not the Miami Grand Prix circuit that we saw in Formula 1. This is the fictional Dodge Island Street Circuit, before anybody gets confused. I am your commentator for the JJW97, and unlike yesterday, I am joined today by the man who partnered me during commentary for World Champ Car, I think for quite a couple of races. In fact, it's Blake Moore.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Formula E World Championship here in Miami. And also thanks, Joe, for having me on again.
Indeed so, and it's going to be very interesting with the qualifying session because, as you can see, we have got rain expected for this. As you can see, it is going to start off dry, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, but there is rain, but it is going to be light rain to start off with, but it is going to get heavier towards the second half. So it will be very interesting considering that all the cars, of course, go out 13 cars at a time to avoid that pit glitch that we had last season, of course. So it will be interesting to see if the track is still dry by the time the second group of cars come out onto the racetrack, won't it, Blake?
Yes, it'll throw an absolute spanner in the works, and it will hamper the grid, and will hamper the grid by a long shot. But we have to one way to find out, Joe. So let's crack on with it.
Indeed so. We've got a 30-minute qualifying session, and without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Now, of course, this is the longest track on the calendar, let's not forget, because hence why it's going to get very interesting with the weather, especially with 13 cars going out at a time. And, well, could make for a mixed-up grid. It might not do. It depends on what the weather is like when the second group of cars come out onto the racetrack. But we are in the pit lane right now. And it is quite murky out there, but I do think the conditions are dry. So we will wait and see how that one develops. Now, yesterday, you may remember, of course, yesterday we had a race. It was over at Road Atlanta yesterday as well. And we saw Michael Macho take his first victory since 2018. And as a result of that, I didn't mention it at the time because, well, I actually didn't know about it at the time. But Michael Macho now takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship, meaning that Brandon Jackson no longer leads it. And he finds himself 9 points behind Michael Macho in the championship. And Macho today looking to see if he can make it 2 out of 2 victories in the USA. It is rainy out there, but I think the track is dry. So, in fact, no, there is actually dots on track. So, given how long this track is, it might wetten up by the time they get back around, Blake.
Yeah, everyone will be absolutely craving for wets or enters, but at the moment, Ennis Paratsky is the first car out on track at the moment, and there's some cars following suit. But remember, this is a very long track. So this would absolutely hamper anyone who would go out first.
Indeed so, and of course there are some dots on track. Some areas though still dry at this point in time, so that could be something to keep an eye on as well. But of course this is, as mentioned Blake, the longest track on the calendar, but that doesn't immune it from the fact that, of course, given that the laps have been increased from last season, it also has had an increase, but not by much. It's only been increased by at least 2 laps, we believe, so we are believing that this will be a 21 lap race as opposed to what it was in the previous few seasons, which was 19 laps. So only a 2 lap difference really, but it could make all the difference, really. And I think some corners to keep an eye on, especially what happened last season, are down here at this right-hander that Ennis Paratsky is coming up to. And, of course, the right-hander after... Well, this double right-hander we're coming up. Not this one. The one after it. It's this one down here where we could see some drama unfolding. We did see it last season. Whether we will see that same sort of drama for this season, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, because... Yeah, this is just like... This is a massive bus stop chicane. A massive one at that. So,
Indeed.
I was about to finish. It could be this overtake / drama, but this track is good for overtaking. Yeah, I have nothing else to say. It's good for overtaking.
This is very good for overtaking. This is also another good corner where some overtaking can happen as well. It's kind of basically the last little chance you've got at maybe trying to do an overtake, especially on the final lap of the race, and if there is maybe a final lap battle. But Ennis Paratsky is about to start his lap quite soon, and we'll get an indication of what the conditions look like by the time he comes onto the pit straight. Now remember, there were dots on the track when he came out of the pit, so let's see if that's changed now that he's come back around the circuit as he now makes his way towards the final chicane. Now then flicking it in through the left and then through the right-hander, and let's see what it looks like now then as he starts his first flying lap. Might be his only one, depending on the conditions, as there's still dots on the pit straight as he now makes his way down towards the first corner now then, and it's obviously a very good run into the first corner, especially at the start of races, and one to look out for as well a little bit later on, as he now approaches the first chicane now then, taking all the curve as much as possible through into there, as he now makes his way towards the section of corners. I think he's quite close towards the end of sector 1 actually. And the first sector he does, let's have a look. It's here, look, 29.260 in the first sector. I do know that it is quite a very long sector 3, though, from what I understand.
Yes. Yes, there is going to be a long sector 3, so everyone needs to put the plan to the floor if they want to get around there. But Pratsky is just going down this very long straight. This kind of reminds you of the Canada straight back in the 1990s. Because there's just legit a flick in the middle of the straight, just for absolute no reason. But it is what it is.
Just past the second sector now, he did a 54.371, so you can get an indication of how long this last sector is. So a very long final sector it is indeed around this circuit, and Parachki now then approaching this, as Brake calls it, the bus stop chicane. Quite a technical bus stop chicane, as they go past some shipping crates that are alongside the track, and now coming around the left and into the right, exiting out of the bus stop chicane before coming down this back straight before approaching the final few turns on the racetrack now then. And of course Anis Parachki will be the one setting the benchmark of time for everybody to beat, as he now makes his way towards the right-hander, where I've mentioned earlier it's a good overtaking opportunity down into here, through the right, flicking it in, and now in towards the next left-hander then will go the Macedonian driver. And see now, flicks the car in for the left-hand side, and now in towards the final 4 corners will come Enis Parachki, as he now flicks the car in for the left, then the right, and then he'll approach one more chicane before ending the lap. It is obviously a 2-minute lap, this track is, and now flicking it in through the left, then the right, and let's see what the benchmark of time is going to be. Enis Parachki crosses the line, and he's going to do a 2-minute 14.434. Here is Robert Ionescu, reverted back to the original livery, because yesterday he ran a very special livery, but of course he has reverted back to this one, but he has kept the same helmet, of course, because this is the closest he's got to a home race, given he is an American citizen. As here comes Robert Ionescu. Can he beat Enis Parachki? He can by 0.4 of a second. Imagine the gaps to be quite big around here as well, given how big the track is. To Mount 4th, Jackson goes second. He's obviously looking for revenge after retiring yesterday and losing the lead in the championship. Kulazek in 5th position. Here comes Kochi Cheong now then in the Mahindra. Across the line goes into 6th, and Tobler slots in behind him slots in front of him in 6th. Prazan goes into 3rd. Here comes Mohamed Razan now then in the Porsche, as he rounds the last chicane now then, and Mohamed Razin is going to cross the line, and he goes fifth fastest for the moment. Denholm crosses the line, goes into 5th himself. Kwan across the line, he's had a good run recently, and he slots into 5th again. Continuing his good qualifying progress so far is the Guin Min Kwan. Dicelli goes into 8th, as here comes Santino Andrioli in the 2nd Audi, and this will be the final lot of this group. So the second group will be hoping that conditions are similar by the time they go out. Andrioli goes into 4th. So at the moment, it is Robert Ionescu who is at the top of the time sheets. But as mentioned, Blake, because of how long the track is, we should expect the gaps between the pecking order to be quite big.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And also, I can't believe that's Robertson 13th is 3 seconds off than the original timing. So looks like their rain is starting to get heavier, but I don't assume that.
Indeed so, and it will be interesting to see. I think in to be fair to the Mahindras, they did look like they were holding each other up a little bit, which, to be fair, is probably not the best thing to do if the conditions are going to get heavier towards the end of the session. So it will be quite interesting to see. But so far, it doesn't look like the conditions have stayed the same from what we saw when Anis Parachki first came out of the pit. So that could be a good omen for the 9 drivers who are still yet to do a time, including the championship leader, Michael Mocho. We'll have to wait and see on that one as Parachki comes back into the pits now then for Mercedes. And quite an interesting pit lane, really. It kind of cuts across the chicane, really, and it just sends you straight into the pit lane, really. But, yeah, it should be quite interesting. Pit stops, from what I remember, they are usually... I think they usually well, I would imagine that Yuri would have sorted out the fuel things from last season for some of the tracks. He should be about halfway into the race. Now, unlike yesterday, one thing I should talk about with Atlanta, really, because unlike the first two races, we saw really with the first two races, there was a pattern forming where if you stayed out a lot longer, you happen to catch up to your rivals quite quickly. But in the last race in Atlanta, it was kind of the opposite situation.
Yes. Yes, indeed, and sent the line. Yes, indeed. Also, wait, no, wait. Got my lines.
We are live, Blake. We're not doing a take two.
Obviously, we're not doing pre-recording, Joe, because this is obviously live.
Yes, indeed. For anybody who needs a reminder, this is live. We're no take twos on this one. So anyway, as these cars are now back in the pits, we wait for the next group of cars to come out, and they'll be hoping, as mentioned, that they have the same conditions as what these 13 drivers have had earlier. And well, it will be interesting to see as well, as Kwan is now back in the pits. His teammate, Owen Carpenter, who got his first points of the season last time out yesterday at Road Atlanta, will be heading out on the track quite soon. And so we'll have to wait to see that one. But Alex Broster is coming out onto the racetrack now then. Is anybody going to beat him to the punch? And the answer to that is no. So he's going to be the first to come out onto the racetrack. And we're going to have a look to see what the conditions look like when he comes out onto the racetrack, and can't really tell much from this distance. I would imagine, yeah, it's still similar to what it is from when the cars were out earlier on. So I don't think the conditions have changed too much, which could be a good sign for these 9 drivers who are still yet to do a lap. As Broster now then is about to prepare for his next flying lap now then, as he just makes his way through the section of corners now then, and preparing himself to do his first flying lap. A few more cars have come out on the track, as you can see on the mini-map. And luckily, at least for the drivers who are coming out first on the track, they won't have to worry too much about traffic, given how long this track is. So no such worry about traffic for these guys this time by. Broster now then just coming down this very long back straight before approaching the double right-hander, and of course a good overtaking opportunity this part is, really to stretch your legs really, although there is some challenges in the middle of it, even so, to ensure that you don't get too tired behind the wheel, especially with those flat out left and right-handers, as Broster now then makes his way towards the double right-hander. I do believe the driver behind is a BMW, and I presume that is going to be Marvo Koenig.
It's a BMW.
I believe it's Marvo Koenig, because Jackson's still in the pits, and Koenig is still yet to do a lap, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. Of course, BMW will want to forget what happened yesterday, of course, a double retirement for the team, and, well, it obviously lost Jackson the lead in the championship, and especially for Marvo Koenig, who took the lead early on and looked like he was going to pull away. Within 3 laps, his tyre decided, no way, I'm not winning this race.
Yes, indeed. And he looks like BMW needs to bounce back very quickly if they want to catch up to if they want to keep the pressure on Mocho. But this is Koenig's chance to take the chance and just throw it at Mocho. Let's see what's going to happen in the Group 2. Well.
Indeed, and obviously just to put some context, of course, this is sort of the team's home race, of course, because they are listed as an American team due to the fact that it is Andretti Motorsport that is running it. So, yeah, so obviously yesterday their first home race didn't go well, and they'll be able to bounce back here in Miami. As Broster starts his first flying lap, just trying to look at the conditions heading down into the first corner. And there are still dots down there, so I would imagine that the conditions are still similar. We'll have to wait and see what it's like compared to Ionescu in the first sector, albeit due to the fact that this is a Group 2 car, so we need to bear that in mind when he comes towards the first sector, the Virgin, of course, being a Group 2 car. Broster now then just going around these section of corners. Virgin, of course, scoring their first points like yesterday in the form of Wojciech Kulesek, who finished in 10th position. And Broster's actually up on Ionescu in the first sector by a 10th of a second, so it doesn't seem like the conditions have affected too much. In fact, to be fair, I did see actually a little bit of a dry line forming towards turn 1 a little bit, so maybe they are starting to ease a little bit, and but again, I should bear in mind it is going to get heavier towards the end, so maybe Brewster took advantage of that. We'll have to wait and see how he does in his remaining 2 sections, of course, because it could all change given how long this track is, and he's now 2 tenths down in the second sector. So already, whilst he was up on Ionescu in the first sector, he's now down in the second sector, and the sky is looking quite bright still, quite ironically. It is still quite bright in the skies at the moment, so who knows really about this weather. But anyway, as Broster's now at the long sector 3, and right behind him, over Koenig is on a lap, as we talked about earlier on. As he now approaches the bus stop chicane, now there's Alex Broster through the right and then into the left-hander. He will go using all the curb as much as possible before making his way towards the end of this bus stop chicane. And now towards the left and then flicking it in through the right before making his way down this little straight before heading towards the final section of the course. And now coming down this little back straight. Of course, this is also an overtaking opportunity, as I keep alluding to, as he now makes his way down towards the right-hander. Kind of a double right-hander, you think about it, because you have to brake whilst turning at the same time, really. It's a little bit of a tricky corner to get right, as he now goes underneath this little tunnel section, past the Pirelli advertising boards on either side. Through the left-hander he goes, and now into the final full corners he goes, which is just straight-out chicanes. This chicane being longer than the other one, because the other one is kind of like the Fogarty S's over at Donington Park. As he now goes around the right-hander, and now in towards the final chicane goes Alex Broster, flicking it in through the left, then the right. Where's he going to place his Virgin Racing cars? Broster, across the line, he will go, and he goes into 8th position. Marvo Koenig in the BMW crosses the line, goes into 5th, slots behind Santino Andreoli, and only 300ths off of him. Here comes Owen Carpenter now, then he's looking pretty strong on his lap as well. Let's see what the Irishman can do. Round the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes Owen Carpenter, across the line, and he goes 12th only. So, again, really struggling with qualifying compared to his teammate, Kwan. Here comes Justwant Kumar in the Group 3 Neo. Let's see what Kumar is able to do. It was a bit of a disappointing one for Neo yesterday. They came so close to getting points with Sana Chue, but unfortunately, mechanical failure prevented them. 15th for Kumar, 13th for Sana Chue. Here comes Leighton Aviard in the Porsche, goes into P11. Here comes Ennis Ferracci back for a second flying lap, and he is up on his personal best, as you can see on the dev panel. So let's see what he can do. In fact, he's actually up on Ionescu, so he could actually be challenging for pole here. Ferracci across the line, and he goes fastest by 0.6 of a second. And
there's Michael
Macho, his teammate, and he goes into 7th there. Kulazek goes second in the Virgin.
That's
a very good time there in the Group 2 Virgin there for Wojtek Kulazek, who got his first points yesterday in Atlanta. Jake Tilsley, who got pole position yesterday at Road Atlanta. He crosses the line, goes into 4th position. Tobler crosses the line, goes 19th only. Here comes his teammate, Koichi Chion. This time the Mahindras didn't hold each other up. Chion across the line, goes into 20th, slots in front of Kumar there. Here comes his brother, Kochun Chion. Across the line, he goes 14th with that time, and they are these runs done with, and it is now Ennis Perachki at the top by 0.2 of a second ahead of Wojtek Kulazek. What about that, Blake?
Yeah, I never thought that Kulacek would be in the middle mix of that kerfuffle, but Jesus, I never thought he would be in that kerfuffle in anyways. So that was a brilliant lap by Kulacek and Perachki. So they really used the tracks to their advantage, and also I want to call this section the Pirelli warehouse. So Joe, call that Pirelli warehouse, please.
I'll take that, Kirk. I'll take that because it does actually go underneath a warehouse. You're actually quite right. So yeah. Given that there are Pirelli signs either side, I think we will call it the Pirelli warehouse. And in fact, I've just seen coming out of that chicane, there are dots starting to form at that chicane. But I talked about earlier down at turn 1, I did see sort of a dry line starting to emerge as well. So it's a bit weird what's going on with this weather at the moment.
So it's basically just being like a Hockenheim ring. So basically one sector is dry and the other sector is just rained. So it's basically just dispersing the rain is just going more like north, all the way north into sector 3 compared into sector 1. So this rain is really confusing me.
Indeed so, and it will be interesting to see how this goes on, especially when you've got the heavier weather coming towards the end of the session. So Carpenter is into the pit. So far, Perachki at the top by 0.2 of a second at a Wojtek Kulazek, with Robbie Ionescu in 3rd, Tilsley 4th, Jackson in 5th, with Prazan in 6th, Andreoli in 7th, Koenig in 8th, championship leader Mocho in 9th, and Kwan currently competing the top 10. And Michael Mocho even asking a question in the stream chat. Do you believe that Koenig could have won yesterday without his issues? And personally, if I'm going to be honest, Michael, and I'm not saying this because you're the one who asked the question, personally, I don't think he would have, because it's very clear that you were the fastest guy on the track yesterday. So whilst I do think it may have been close, I think he would have still edged Koenig, if I'm being completely honest. But it would have been very fascinating to see, that's for sure. But unfortunately, we never got to see it, really, because Koenig's tyre decided to let go on him on only lap 3 of the race. So, yeah, kind of that, really. But anyway, back to the action, as we're going to have most of the guys either do their 3rd flying lap or even their 2nd flying lap. We'll have to wait and see on that. And, well, of course, everybody has done at least a lap now, and at least everybody's done a representative time before the conditions have got worse, so no issues there. And as mentioned earlier, as expected with this track, because of how long it is, the gaps are relatively big, spreading the pecking field at the moment. So don't take that as a suggestion to say that the cars that you're way too slow. It's just because the track is very long, and the longer the track, of course, the shorter the track, the closer the gaps are, but the longer the track, the bigger the gaps are. That's kind of how it works in racing. So the sign of that is Rafael Demal is coming out onto the track. Let's see what this straight now looks like as he's coming out of the pits. And
Right.
it looks relatively drier than what it does. The docks have actually cleared, although there is still some there. You can just see, look, there's that dry line look in between them. So, yeah, quite weird what's going on at the moment, although it does seem that the dots have spreaded towards the chicane at the moment. Although, to be fair, I think there were dots at the chicane the last time we checked. So, yeah, it's very, very interesting. It's a little bit drier going down the pit straight, so maybe we could see some more improvements happening. We will have to wait and see as Demal is out onto the racetrack. There is still some movement in the pit lane at the moment as Demal makes his way for the left and right-hander. As now coming around this long right-hander before he comes down this long straight, this very long straight before approaching the double right-hander now then. And Demal, of course, missing out on points yesterday, did Rafael Demal. And he'll be looking to see if he could do that here at Miami, although at the moment he's only down in 19th position, so not exactly ideal at the moment for the Brazilian driver. Still some more cars coming out. Ionescu's coming back out to see if he can try and get the pole position back off of Enis Parachki. Try and see if he can get his second pole of the season. Jackson out on track, as is Prazan, as is Koenig, as is Denholm. Brost is out there, Razin is out there, Aviard is out there, and of course Rafael Demal, who we're riding on board with, as he actually now just comes around the bus stop chicane now then, with just over 10 minutes to go in this qualifying session to determine the grid for the Miami Prix, the 21, we believe it's 21 laps anyway, the 21 lap Miami Prix. We'll wait and see on that when we get to the race, of course. Of course, Jiri will have to do a custom grid, because of course we do have the mistake rate in progress for this session, so that's obviously something else to keep in mind, the qualifying mistake rate, as Demal now then is just coming up towards what we've now branded as the Pirelli warehouse, as now coming underneath the warehouse we go. In fact, they've got some very nice lights going on there to try and lighten up this warehouse as they now come out of it through the left-hander, and Demal is about to start his lap very, very soon now then. Parachki and Kulazek volunteering to stay in the pit lane, the top two that is currently on the leaderboard, as Demal now then makes his way towards the final two corners through the left and then into the right-hander he goes, as he will now start his second flying lap of qualifying as he now comes down that pit straight. Let's have a look and see what the conditions look like, if they have improved a little bit or if they've stayed the same. Let's see, going into the first corner, and yeah, the dots have cleared, it seems, so they've kind of cleared away since we saw from Demal there, so conditions are improving, it seems, Blake.
Yes, yes, indeed. Demal. Okay, yeah. Yes, the conditions are improving despite still raining, and Demal has made a mistake.
He's actually still up on his personal best though by 3/10, nearly 3/10 of a second. In fact, 1/10 down on Parachki in the first sector. So as we look at Denholm, he's actually down. And I don't know if that's because he's getting held up by Demal or not, but he will get a healthy dose of slipstream from him regardless down this long back straight. So something to keep in note there as Demal makes his way down this back straight, which has got a few of these curves in it. Let's see what his second sector is like. And he's lost time in the second sector there. He's only now 800 up on his personal best. So we really need to gain some time in this very long sector 3, as the dots are at the double right-hander, but you can see, look, with the sky, despite the fact that it is rainy, it is getting brighter, as you can see. It is quite cloudy on this side, but you can see as we're heading down to that double right-hander, the sky is getting brighter a little bit.
Yeah, and yeah, looks like the looks like the rain clouds is moving up north, as I said before. So looks like I got the red prediction really spot on there. So as through Demal goes through the long sector 3 through the bus stop chicane, and after the exit can nail the curb, and yes, he does. So yeah, hopefully Demal has a decent lap, but the second sector has definitely put a dent in it.
Yeah, because as I mentioned, he was nearly 3/10 up in that first sector, and now only finds himself 800 up on his personal best in the middle. Underneath the Pirelli warehouse, as me and Blake have called it, as now we come out of the warehouse and in towards the left-hander now then, flicking it in using all the curve on the inside, as he will now approach the final 4 corners on the racetrack through this first chicane, which is quite long, but flat out through this right-hander, and then into this last chicane, which is kind of, the way you approach it is kind of similar to how the Fokker TS's are. It's quite a quick flick. Let's see then, is Demal still able to improve as he found time in the last sector? Across the line he will go, and no, he doesn't improve. He lost time in that last sector. Danon was up in the middle sector, but doesn't improve. Prazan, meanwhile, goes up into 6th position. Here comes Brandon Jackson, who's up on his personal best, as he now crosses the line and goes into 4th position ahead of Tilsley. Razan across the line in the Porsche. He goes into 9th. Ionescu improving across the line. He goes back to the top by 200ths of a second. Ionescu to the top with a 2 minutes 13.303. Here's Alex Broster, who's not up on his personal best, in fact. He's currently down in 13th position. Let's see if he can find some time in that last sector now then. Broster through the left, and then through the right hand he goes, using all the curb as much as possible. Broster across the line, he will go, and no improvement, stays in 13th. Here goes Marvo Koenig, is also down on his personal best in the middle sector, as he will now come towards the final few corners on the racetrack now. Then Koenig going around the right-hander, and now into the final 2 corners will come at Marvo Koenig, the German driver looking for revenge after yesterday. Round the final few turns, down the pit straight, and across the line goes Marvo Koenig, and he goes into 7th. He found time in the last sector. P7 for Koenig, slots in front of Santina Andrioli. Here is Leighton Aviard now then in the Porsche. Across the line he will go, and he stays in 15th. Owen Carpenter improving, he goes up into 11th, pushes everybody else, pushes Aviard down to 16th now. Coach Chon Chion now then on an improvement, but loses time in the last sector and doesn't improve. Andrioli didn't improve either, and he stays in 8th position. Here comes Jaswant Kumar now then in the Neo, the Indian driver now then, approaching the final 4 turns. His teammates Sana Chue volunteering not to go out on this occasion, as she's currently down in 18th position, as Kumar now then comes around the final 2 corners.
Kumar's pretty slow. Kumar's really slow. Look at that time.
So a look across the line, he's still up in his personal best, he improves but remains in 21st position, as the dots have actually spread, in fact, towards a little bit further on the track. So it is, like I said, quite weird weather conditions, but I think that's everybody done with these laps, if I'm not mistaken. So Ionescu back to the top of the timing sheets, Blake.
Yeah, yes indeed, but Ionescu cannot celebrate yet because there's still other cars that need to come out, like Pratsky and Corsair, because my head is still stuck in that DTM race all the way back in Dijon. Thanks, Blake.
Yes, indeed. Question from Michael: how am I coping in this heat? Well, in fact, I've actually got one of the coolest rooms in the house, in fact. So I'm actually keeping cool, but still got the fan on in the background. And I've also, like I did yesterday, got myself a nice bottle of water that I put in the freezer, so to keep myself hydrated and ensure that I don't melt. So otherwise, it will be a bit of a problem, and somebody will have to scoop me up the floor if I melted. So there we are.
Yeah. Yeah, at least I have legit have a fan on, like legit right in front of my desk, so I'm pretty cool right now.
Yes, indeed. And as you can see, as I just talked about there, Blake, the dots have spreaded a little bit further from that double right-hander, as you can see there, because it may be that the conditions may be starting to get worse as the weather was predicting.
Yeah, because some drivers are a bit getting a little bit slower through the sector, as I saw with the Neo. The Neo with setting slow lap time.
Yeah, indeed, and we'll have to keep an eye on that, as some will be going out for what will be their final flying laps, because as you can see, whilst there is 4 minutes left on the clock, because it is a 2-minute lap, we do expect that some of them, this will be for their final flying laps. Some of them may have already completed their final flying laps on that occasion, as Kwan is going out on track, just as his teammate Owen Carpenter just came into the pits there. So that's that really, as Kwan now then coming out onto the racetrack, and it is still relatively dry down at the first corner, but it's everywhere else where we're starting to see some dots starting to form on the racetrack.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact,
Never mind. Never mind. It looks like some dots are still there.
But turn 1 and the pit straight still look relatively dry. Even this bit still looks relatively dry, apart from this bit here. Still some looks like dots are starting to form. So whether we will see some improvements on these flying laps, we'll have to wait and see. But I think it is going to be a little bit of a task if they're going to try and get an improvement in.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
And as you see, it's starting to get damp down this back straight yet. We are still yet to see some spray, which could confirm that the conditions are changing. So, well, they are changing. Now there's the spray. The spray has arrived, and we can officially say that the conditions have got worse. So I think it is safe to say, Blake, we're not going to see any improvements on this occasion. So maybe it's safe to say that Robert Ionescu has got his second pole of the season.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The Sector 2 / Sector 3 is absolutely just pouring it down. So, looks like there's going to be no improvements at all. So congratulations, Robert Ionescu. You get your second pole position in a row. So, yeah, that is one for the US fans to celebrate about, I guess.
Indeed so, as Kwan now then makes his way out of the bus stop chicane. As now he will come towards the exit of the chicane now then before coming down towards this back straight. And we'll get an indication of how much time they'll lose on these next flying laps when they start them, of course. So some of them, in fact, will not be able to get a flying lap in because, as you can see, there is still a couple of drivers in the pit lane. Some of them have only just come out, so some of them won't be able to get a lap in regardless. But I don't think they'll care anyway because it looks like nobody is going to improve anyway as Kwan just comes out of the Pirelli warehouse and now heading towards the final 4 corners on the racetrack. As he now flicks it in for the left and then into the right-hander we go as he will now approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack now, then flicking it in through the left and then into the right he will go as Kwan now then will start his final flying lap, and we're going to get an indication of how much the conditions have rapidly changed here at Miami. Whether we will get these conditions though in the race, we will have to wait and see. Of course, the sessions could change with the race. We'll have to wait and see on that as Kwan now then makes his way through into the chicane now then. And it has got a little bit damper through into that chicane. We already have seen spray around this racetrack. Let's see what Kwan's first sector is like compared to his personal best with these conditions now then, as he just comes around the section of corners, just looking at his first sector time. And, 7/10 down on his personal best in the first sector and over a second off of Ionescu in the first sector as well. So you can definitely tell the conditions have changed, and it will be fascinating to see, though, what sort of lap times we're going to get. As there's now spray up the top of the back straight. We only saw it on the second half of the back straight. Now there is spray at the top of the back straight. So the weather's starting to spread around this track. But as I said, whether we will have these conditions for the race, we will have to wait and see, of course. We might do, we might not. It's a bit of a question mark, it's fair to say.
2 seconds off. 2 seconds off Robert Ionescu's time for Roman Kwan.
Yes. Nguyen Minh Kwan. And so as Kwan now then just makes his way towards the bus stop chicane, you can just tell just how much he's losing in these conditions. And I'm gonna guess that all of these guys are on the slicks as he's locking up into the corner there. So he's already suffering from some aquaplaning going into the bus stop chicane there. And well, if the spray somehow didn't confirm your theory that it was getting wet, surely Kwan making a mistake there definitely did.
Yeah. Yep, and yes, and it would ruin everyone's lap time. So hopefully nobody locks up again. But hopefully let's see if these conditions will play effect in the race. But we have to check if it's that's going to be rain at first. So yeah, we can't say for sure to be raining for the race, but you know.
One thing we can hope for, let's hope we don't have what happened in real life in New York where we had that pile-up.
Oh dear.
Conditions in Miami. Let's just hope it doesn't get to that. But anyway, Kwan now then, just for comparison's sake, let's see how much the gap is going to be. He's already down on his personal best, as you see, and he's given up. He's coming into the pits. He's like, nope, I've had enough. And it looks like everybody is giving up, in fact, because Prix has got the call on his DAF panel to come into the pits. And has everybody else got that call? We know that those two have, and I won't be surprised if everybody else has got that call. Macho hasn't. He's going to try and test it out to see if he can gain some, maybe some data from this, if he can. And let's see what his comparison is like anyway compared to his dry run. And 15 seconds off his personal best is the result. Ticelli's like, no, I've had enough. Same for Jake Tilsley, even though the sun is starting to come out a little bit, which is a bit bizarre. Coach Ichione said, nope, I've had enough as well. I'm coming back into the pits, and he's going to start down in last place, as you can see. 4 tenths off of Jaswant Kumar. So he's now coming into the pits. Tobler's not got the call yet, but now he has. The Mahindras have now said, nope, you're coming back into the pits regardless. The checkered flag is now out regardless, by the way, to signify officially the end of the session, but really it was already over a few minutes ago when the conditions got worse. But now it is officially over, as you can see on the graphic on the top of your screen, as Tobler comes into the pits. Kulizek is adding off, but a good qualifying for him though, Blake. 3rd place in the Virgin.
Yes, yes, indeed. So Kulisa could get lucky at the start, but so it doesn't matter where you start; it matters where you finish. So Kulisa needs to learn that line from Fernando Alonso. So Kulisa needs to have a good run at front. But Donaldholm wants to test the conditions out as he goes across the line and how many seconds he's going to lose, and it's going to be 19 seconds. Christ Almighty.
The qualifying is over. 17.6 seconds to be exact in his personal best, but now we can officially say that Robert Ionescu is now officially on pole position for the Miami Prix, 2nd pole of the season. And here is your grid then. So it is Robert Ionescu on pole with Enis Paratsky in 2nd, Wojtek Kulizek in 3rd with Brandon Jackson in 4th, Jake Tilsley 5th, Aji Prazan in 6th with Marvo Koenig in 7th, Santina Andrioli in 8th, Mohamed Razin in 9th, Michael Mocho in 10th with Owen Carpenter in 11th. And do you want to do the rest, Blake, from 12th?
Yes, sure. Well, nine game in Kwan, Robert Stolholm, Alex Broster, Cheong, Leighton Naviard, Jicheli, Choi, Domel, Tolba, Kuma, and Jockey Ji Chong. There we go.
Yeah, Coach
I butchered some of sorry if I butchered the names, gentlemen.
Yes, indeed. So, yes. So, probably, yeah, it is quite understandable if you get some of the pronunciations mixed up. But anyway, at least it's not Matthias Twerk. Sorry, Blake. I had to bring that up. But anyway, whilst Yuri gets what he needs to sort out, because of course he did the mistake rate, of course, it means he needs to create a custom grid. In terms of the race, Blake, whilst we don't know what the conditions are going to be like, we should hopefully expect a very exciting race here.
Yes, indeed. So it could be either Roberts could be Ionescu's home win on home soil, or Kulisa can mount a title charge. It's a joke. It's a joke. I was about to say. If anyone doesn't understand the reference, yeah, okay. Let's just get on with this.
Indeed. So, of course, we've got Ionescu on pole, and he'll be looking to try and get his 2nd victory of the season. So, whilst we wait for everything to get on the way, apologies if I go a little bit silent, because I'm going to get the tweet sorted out. So, bear with me, guys, if I go a bit silent. I do apologise for that. So, yeah, just bear with, guys, and you'll hear my voice in just a little bit. Luckily, it'll be before the race starts, so don't worry about that. tweet and just now sorting out the Wikipedia at the moment whilst we wait, and so and also at the same time trying to work out what that does to Robert Ionescu in the championship. I don't think it moves him up a place, but I do think it closes him in a bit to Brandon Jackson in second place, and obviously closes in a bit on Michael Mocho, the new championship leader. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think it does actually put him ahead of Jackson in the championship. I could be wrong on that, because I do remember he's actually 11 points behind Mocho, and given that Jackson's 9 points, yeah, I think Ionescu actually moves up to second now in the championship thanks to his pole position today. That puts him 8 points behind Michael Mocho in the Drivers' Championship. So Ionescu with a good chance, perhaps, you could say, to try and get the lead of the championship, if he, of course, gets a good result here today. And so, in fact, whilst I'm at it, I need to mute my iPad again, because if you don't remember yesterday, because of the notifications that are happening, it kept on cutting out the audio on my end. So I have to mute my iPad for a moment so that doesn't happen. There we go. Problem solved. So no issues there. So then it doesn't cut in for when Blake Moore wants to talk to me. So
yeah.
That would be
and also I think it's 3 points because now he will be on 47. So yeah.
That does put him ahead of Brandon Jackson by 1 point. So now that puts him 8 points behind Michael Mocho in the Drivers' Championship. So
I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was going to be 2 points.
It's 3 points. Unlike in Formula E, in fact, Formula 2 is only worth. It's actually worth 4 points in Formula 2. Actually, pole position in that. It's 3 points for fastest lap in the races, but same for Formula E as well. It's 2 points for fastest lap in the race as well. So, but that does help Audi in the teams championship, I will say, because they were only 3 points ahead of Mercedes going into this, but now thanks to Ionescu's pole, that puts them 6 points ahead of Mercedes in the teams championship. So just give them a little bit of a helping hand. So that, and so it will be interesting to see whether Ionescu could try and take the lead in the Drivers' Championship, or whether Mocho will make a fight back, or whether Jackson can try and retake the lead in the championship after his powertrain failure, I should say, yesterday. So, so we'll be interested to see that, really, what happens there. And so so just stay with us, guys, of course, because we will show the race on this stream as well, so don't go anywhere. We will be back in just a tick. Just give us a little bit of time before the race starts. And so don't think it's on a separate stream like with F2. It is going to be on the same stream. So, in that bit of Robert's Wikipedia. So there we go. Edited Rob's Wikipedia there. Just got to edit Brandon's. In fact, let me just quickly edit Brandon's before we get onto the commentary, before it looks a bit confusing for anybody who visits in between the race. So just give me a moment, and then we'll get onto the grid for anybody who's only just joined the stream, of course. So don't get ahead of yourself there like yesterday, Yuri. I do remember that. So anyway, so here we go then. So done that bit of the Wikipedia. So for anybody, and it is 21 laps, so we did get the calculations correct there. So anyway, for anybody who missed the qualifying, here's how the grid looks. Robert Ionescu on pole with Enes Paratsky in second, Wojciech Kulazek in third with Brandon Jackson in fourth, Jake Tilsley fifth, Aji Prazan in sixth with an old Jaguar Ferrari 3, Marvo Koenig in seventh with Santino Andrioli in eighth, Mohamed Razin in ninth with championship leader Michael Mocho in 10th. Then it is the two DS cheaters on row 6 with Owen Carpenter 11th and Nguyen Min Kwan in 12th. Then it is Ross Denholm in 13th, Alex Prost 14th, Koch Chun Cheon in 15th, a good qualifying for him, with Leighton Aviard in 16th, Dominic Ticelli disappointed 17th after his podium yesterday, with Sana Choi in 18th, Rafael Demau 19th, with Jacob Tobler in 20th, and on the back row of the grid is Jaswant Kumar and Kochi Cheon. And let's have a look at the weather. It is going to be a dry race, so no rain expected. So let's get on with this then, shall we? 21 laps of action coming your way here at the Miami ePrix. and hopefully it should be a very, very good race indeed. So just waiting for the track to load up. We will get this race underway as the loading boys reach the end, and here we are then. So here we are on the grid. Of course, the camera will be from the back row, but on the right you'll have Robert Ionescu, and on the left you'll have Enis Parachki. So who is going to get the jump into the first corner now then, as we wait for the 5 lights to go out, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and now it is 5 lights.
Lights out.
It is lights out, and away we go here for the Miami ePrix. And who's going to get the lead into the first corner? It's a very long run to the first corner, so let's see how this one's going to fare. It looks like Parachki's got a better start than Ionescu. It's 3 wide going into the third corner. It's Kulizek trying to stick his nose in, and it looks like Kulizek might actually get the lead here, and he does. Wojciech Kulizek takes the lead of the Miami ePrix in the Virgin Racing car as everybody tries to squirm for position, and Ionescu, in fact, has had a pretty terrible start, in fact. He's down to 4th, but looks like he's trying to go third back from Brandon Jackson as they go side by side through into the S's. Then Parachki in second, and Ionescu has not been able to get the place, has got the place back from Jackson, so he's back to first. This is a spin. Koenig has gone for a spin around. He's gone for a spin down around the S's there. We've already got drama with Koenig after his issues yesterday. More bad luck for the German.
Yes, indeed. He tried to go out the inside. He looks like he got hit up the back. Yes, he did. Got hit up by Andrioli. And also, whilst this was going on, the Kulizek and the Virgin Racing car has just been checked out.
Yes, indeed, and it looked like, in fact, from that replay, it just looked like that I think it was that Koenig just turned into Andrioli there. Didn't really see he was there, and that's how the contact happened. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for second place emerging now between Parachki and Ionescu now then, as they're both battling down towards the double right-hander. All this is doing is allowing Kulizek to just get away, as there's a battle between Jackson and Prazan going on behind as Ionescu looking to the inside of Prazan now then, as Jackson trying to make it free as well as Prazan on the inside, Ionescu on the inside of Parachki, and he takes second place, and Prazan has taken 4th from Jackson as they come out of the double right-hander. Denholm has taken 8th meanwhile. Unseen by the cameras, it just said on the graphic, he's got to 8. Parachki trying to get the place back now of Ionescu. Going into the bus stop chicane now, this is where quite a bit of drama has happened in the past. Parachki on the inside, but Cargo and he's done on it. He's turned around Ionescu at the start and he's bumped him out of the way. And what a shame for Robert Ionescu. And, well, Ionescu has been punted after his pole position. He's now been sent to, well, I would say the back, but it's 21st because Koenig obviously had his problems. But drama at the start of the race, and the pole sitter Ionescu all the way down to 21st as his teammate now attacking Prazan for 3rd position.
Yes, indeed. Andrioli's tries to attack Prazan before the turning into the Pirelli warehouse. Down the inside goes Andrioli, but Prazan and the Jaguar managed to fend him off, but the back corner is actually moved up to 5th, but nearly he's instantly been overtaken by the Brits of Brandon Jackson. That was a good start by the Mahindra as well. 12th position.
Cheon from last on the grid is already up into 10th place. How's this happened? He was starting in last, and he's already up into 10th place as a result. He's now in the points already. He's had a very good start. He obviously took advantage of all the carnage and just went, thank you very much. So he finds a gap at the start, got a great launch initially, got up to 18th, and was looking around the outside. There was contact at the back there between, I think that was Choi and Aviard there, and he gets up into 17th as all of that, trying to go around the outside of whoever that was. He goes up into 16th there. That was Choi there. He went around the outside of as he made their way through into the chicane, and, well, it's a perfect start for the Malaysian now then. Let's see how... obviously, he's going to gain a place coming up here because, of course, we had Koenig having his issues with Andrioli, and so he gained 1 place there, and he gained some more places down his back straight. Got 14th there, was on the back of Carpenter, who went on the inside of Razan there, and did he get both of them down this straight? He got Carpenter there because as Razin closed the door. In fact, that's Aviard, so in fact, it must have been Razin, actually, that Choi caught the back of at the start there. Cheong goes up to 12th going into the double right-hander here, and he's obviously going to get another place from Ionescu in front. So up to 12th there goes Cheong, and 3 mile moment there as they all try to keep single file. So he's gained a place just before then. In fact, he got up to 12th before that yellow flag area, and so now he gets up into 11th place. And Cheong, when does he get 10th? He must have got 10th down here on Razan. And yeah, that's where he got the place. So in fact, I don't even know who that was. It's on the Choi. Click the back of there. But anyway, we're about to start lap 2 of the races. Wojciech Kulizek leads the race with Enis Parachki in 2nd place. And it is Aji Prazan in 3rd position, followed by Santina Andrioli in 4th position. Then it is Brandon Jackson 5th, Kwan in 6th, followed by the man we're riding on board with there, Ross Denholm in 7th. Then it is Michael Mocho, the championship leader, in 8th position. And then, and that's how the top 8 lies as they make their way through into the first corner. As Denholm tried to put pressure on Kwan, trying to look at him into the chicane if he can. As meantime, we look back at Wojciech Kulizek now. Then he makes his way through these sections of corners. He's got a 5.3 second lead over Enis Parachi. And you've got to remember, this is only a Group 2 car, Blake, and he's already leading the race by a comfortable margin.
Wow, I never thought that Kulizek would have checked out this early in the race. I've never thought that, ever. And behind the Scotsman of, I'm just going to call it Ross to avoid any, he's been attacked by Michael Mocho.
Need so, as we now look at Prazan, who's on the back of Parachi now in this fight for 2nd place, and Parachi definitely not doing well on this stint at the moment. They're also bringing Santino Andreoli into the fight. It's Prazan looking to the inside of Enis Parachi, down into the double right-hander. Can he get the move done? He should have the move done, and he does. Up into 2nd place goes Adji Prazan, the 2018 runner-up in this series, and up into P2 goes the Jaguar drivers. Now Andreoli wants a piece of Parachi down into this bus-stop chicane, and he's looking to the inside. Can he get the move done? I think he might be just a little bit too far back to go for it, so he's going to tuck back for the moment now. Then as they make their way through the bus-stop chicane, as Mocho fending off from Jake Tilsley at the moment, who's trying to take Knight from him. Bit of contact
dear, it's happened. Oh, that's close.
As Tilsley just manages to save it just there, and it's allowed Cheong to get up close to the back of Tilsley as a result. As we now look at Wojciech Kulizek now, then, who's continuing to have a 5.4 second cushion over Prazan, but I wonder if Prazan will start to close him up now that he's broken free from Enis Parachi. Speaking of which, Andreoli now fancies his chances on Enis Parachi down the double right-hander. Danny inside going towards the Pirelli warehouse, and he's got the place. Yes, he has. Andreoli up into 3rd position now, then Parachi trying to get him back, but Andreoli going to cover him up. So into P3 goes the Frenchman.
Yes, indeed. So Parachi has definitely dropped off from 2nd, and it's kind of just inviting in this Pirelli warehouse of chaos.
And Ionescu's involved in this as well, as you can see. He's obviously gained a place on Team by the camera, so he's already gained 1 place, trying to make a fight back through the field. But it's going to be a long afternoon. Maybe you have to come down to the mandatory pit stop if he wants to gain something out of this race with Robert Ionescu. And it looks like we're going to have some early pit stops, judging from the fuel loads. As you can see, around 7 laps worth of fuel on Ionescu's car there, so that'll take him to around, well, they usually have a little bit left in the tank before they come into the pits, and I don't know whether it will be tight on fuel like last season or not, but I would say around lap 8 to 10 we'll see him pit. We've got a yellow flag down at turn 1, and that's a Mahindra, and it's Cheong, Koichi Cheong, who was running in the points, has spun off, and was it a contact, or was it by his own accord? It looks like, no, it's a driver error from Koichi. Oh no, it wasn't, he got clipped from behind by Owen Carpenter. He did have a look of illusion there, as Carpenter actually went by on Razin there, so I don't really know what Carpenter was thinking there. You can see that Koichi had a look up, but he was too far back, so I will not be surprised if that ends up being a penalty of some kind.
Yeah, definitely a penalty because Carpenter didn't know where the hell he's going, because he thought he had the space was open, but then he did, but he just legit just throw it down the inside like an absolute dumb child. But it's racing.
I haven't heard anything from Yuri there. Is that going to be a penalty or not? Because I haven't heard anything from Yuri yet. So Right, well, that gets let off then. So, anyways, we saw a massive lock-up there for Coach Chun Cheon there. The other Cheon brother who had a massive lock-up going into that corner there. That wouldn't have done his tyres any good. Meanwhile, Sona Troy now then in the Neo going down the inside of Koichi Cheon now, then the other Cheon brother, and who's trying to make his way back up through the field after his collision there with Owen Carpenter. As meanwhile, Jackson a little bit further back from Enis Parachi. Here's Wojciech, and as you can see, Prazan is definitely lapping quicker. As a bit of Mohamed Razin, and that was, no, it wasn't. It was like it was the two teammates coming together. Rule 1 in racing: never hit your teammate. And Leighton Aviard, well, it's definitely clear he didn't learn that instruction.
Yes, indeed. Aviard trying to throw it down the inside again, but he came off worse. But I don't know why is everyone trying to go for the gap which doesn't exist? I just don't get it, Joe. Why?
I have no idea either. But anyway, meanwhile, we've got a battle for 6 emerging now between Kwan and Denholm now then. The Venturi, of course, which is a Group 3 car, let's not forget. We've got clarification that it is a Group 3 car, running very well, and he's already on the back of Kwan now. Then he's going to try and attack him down towards the Pirelli warehouse. Let's see what If Denholm can get the move done, down into this right-hander. Danny inside goes the Scotsman. Can he get P6 from Kwan? And yes, he can. Up into P6 goes Ross Denholm in the Venturi. And that's another place gain for him there then as they all make their way through the section of corners. Robert Ionescu up into 19th now as a result of that little kerfuffle with the two Porsches there as Koenig looking to the inside now of Demau as he's trying to make his way back up through the field. He's going to try and pass him down into the Pirelli warehouse. A little bit of a lock-up there from Coach on Chion going down to the Pirelli warehouse there, but Koenig gets the move done and up into P20 goes the German as we now look back at Santino Andreoli now then, who sets the fastest lap of the race in fact. A 2 minutes 13.8 there for Santino Andreoli, so he's going early on to the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race. As Brosa trying to have a look at Razin going into the chicane there, but that wasn't going to work out for the Brit there. And oh, Kwan's got a problem! No!
Oh!
The water leak for Nguyen Minh Quan. He was running in the points, but it's game over for the Vietnamese driver, and he is the first retirement of the day.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me, Joe. He was running really well, and he's got thrown out by his own car. Disappointment for Quan. Honestly, I was hopefully he could get some decent points on the board, but it's just painful for him.
So that's that really, and it is a water leak that's taking care of him there. So race over for Nguyen Minh Quan. Who does that now put in the points? That actually puts Razan now into the points, and only Carpenter now is the only Tech Cheetah who's in the points. It was looking like they were going to try and fight for another double points finish, Tech Cheetah, but it only looks like the Carpenter is going to be the only one to try and do that. Meanwhile, Broster fending off from Coach Cheong, from Jacob Tobler, sorry, not Coach Cheong, got the two Mahindras mixed up there. Tobler, in fact, Mayo would get the move done, does he? No, Broster covers off, and he's going to hold on to 12th for the moment, as now they come down towards the double right-hander, as we now look back at Wojtek Kulazek, who's currently leading the race, as now Tobler looks to the inside of Broster. Is this going to be the move done into the double right-hander? This should be the move, and yes it is. Up into 12th place goes the Czech driver now. Then, no, because Broster's still trying to hang with him there, and, he's trying to get back on the inside, trying to get him back on the switchback, as, it might be free wide here. Keep it together, guys, as Cicelli gets by Asana Choi. This could not end very well. Keep it tidy, boys and girls, as well, because Asana Choi in this, and and Ionescu might take the advantage of all of this, because look at this, he's trying to go all the way around the outside of the Chally, going through the bus stops there. Can he get the move done? No, but he's up into 15th, and Sona Choi, no, in fact, that was Kuma, in fact, both of them have, both the Neos take full advantage of that, and it was all kicking off down there, wasn't it, Blake?
Yes, yes. However, I thought for a second that Romani and Ionescu would hit the back of someone, but my goodness me, the Neos has absolutely just swamped the Audi. I've never seen that before.
And it's going to get even more here because the Meller's got by on Koenig there. And
he doesn't go to what, gentlemen?
Oh, no, not quite. He thought about it there, but he kept behind at the last minute there. So that's pretty much that. Really, as Prazan has actually lost a bit of ground to Andreoli, of course. And in fact, the pair of them are not that far away from Kulazek. We talked about how Prazan was lapping quicker than Kulazek, and I forgot as well that, of course, Andreoli was lapping quicker than the pair of them because, of course, he's holding on to the fastest lap of the race at the moment. As meantime, Jackson's starting to close in a bit on Ennis Parachki in front, as now Andreoli fancies his chances on second place. It's now under a second between Kulazek and Prazan now.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I think Andreoli will have a massive slingshot on Prazan. He might easily catch up to Kulazek because he'll get that slingshot of the Jaguar. And here comes Andreoli going side by side down the main straight goes the Frenchman, but the Jaguar still holds on, and the Jaguar still fends off the Frenchman. That's Andreoli.
Yes, indeed, as now they come down towards this double right-hander. I think Prazan thought about defending. There's now Andreoli going to the inside. Can he get second place from the Indonesian driver down the inside? No, Prazan just going to hold on for the moment, although Andreoli going to try and get alongside him for the second part there, but it looks like Prazan just going to hang it around the outside out of that double right-hander, so he's going to hold on to second. That's just going to allow Kulazek to just get away just a little bit, but all that's done is allow Parachki and Jackson to close in just a little bit. Meanwhile, Carpenter is taking 8th from Tilsley. There you go. Up into 8th place goes Owen Carpenter in the Tech Cheetah car, and that's P8 for him. Meanwhile, side by side goes Ionescu and Chue, and Ionescu gets 16th back off of Sana Chue there then, as meanwhile Aviard trying to get a hold of Coach Chun Chion in front as they go down towards the double right-hander. He's looking to the inside. It's getting a little bit fast. He's leaving. He breaks late as a double lock-up again for Coach Chun Chion. We saw him lock up earlier, and that's P19 for Leighton Aviard as Marvin Koenig now wants a piece of the action as well as we ride back on board with Prazan, who's got Andreoli all over the back of it. Oh, that was so close to contact. Oh, keep it tidy, guys. That was so close close to contact there, and all this has done is allow Jackson and Parachki to get up close. So Parachki and Jackson, other way around, I should say, to get up close as well. And I think they're also dragging along. Yes, they're also dragging along Ross Denholm, and I think that's Michael Mocho as well. Mocho has also been dragged into this as well. So Mocho, who's ran a bit of a quiet race so far, keeping himself out of trouble, and now finds himself in this battle for what is second place. Looks like a big battle for second, as Kulizek is actually pitting this lap. So we've seen some early pit stops. We talked about this earlier on. It looks like we are getting early pit stops in this race. So Kulizek pitting on lap 6 of 21 here at Miami. So he'll be pitting first. Could explain why he looked pretty quick in the early stages, Blake.
Yeah, but also it comes into a factor that Kulizek could do a massive undercut. So Kulizek and the Virtual Championship needs to get this right if they want to stay in front of the massive trailer cars behind. Oh, this has got a little bit wide there.
Indeed so, as they now come towards where this back straight is. Just got to go around a long swooping right hand before they get onto the back straight. And again, Andrioli all over the back of Aji Prazan now then in the fight for second place. And they've got to bear in mind, of course, that Kulizek is coming into the pitch this lap. Andrioli on the inside again of the Indonesian drivers. They go side by side down this back straight. And again, Prazan covers him off through the curve now then. And it's going to allow Parachki to get up close behind him as well. And Andrioli, is he going to try and go for it down at the double right-hander? And Prazan kind of anticipating it. Andrioli again looking to the inside for it to the double right-hander. Has he got the move done this time on the Indonesian driver? Side by side to go, coming out the corner, and this time he's done it. Andrioli up into second place, and now Parachki wants Prazan for third. He's trying to look to the inside already as he got a bad run out the corner there, and Jackson trying to stay in the slipstream. In fact, Denholm looking to the inside of Jackson. Denholm keep it tidy as they go into the bus stop chicane, and they just about keep it tidy there, but Denholm has gained a place out of all this, and he's up into 5th place.
Yes, and also Denholm was going to pit this lap as well, so Denholm needs to get this kind of ground if he wants to stay in front. And Michael Mocho is still there.
Yes, indeed. He's just watching this on, really, probably with a box of popcorn, just watching this all materialise. But anyway, as also coming into the pits as well is Simon Chue in the Neo now then. And as mentioned, Kulizek is coming in, so we're going to stay on board with him. And he'll be heading into the pits this lap. As it looks like Denholm is now trying to get a hold of Parachki if he can. Parachki not looking particularly good out there on this stint at the moment, as we talked about a little bit earlier on. But Kulizek is coming into the pits this lap now then.
So is Denholm as well.
So into the pits now then comes the Czech driver, and let's see how quick the stop is going to be then from the Virgin Racing mechanics, as there's a few mechanics out in the pit lane as mentioned earlier, as Andrioli is going to start lap 7 of the race, as he and Prazan have decided to stay out. And of course, he is fueled to the end of the race out in. And Denholm also in as mentioned as well. We do know that Sander Chue is also coming into the pits for the Neo team. And let's see. There is Kulizek, who's just finished his pit stop now then. Where is he going to emerge then? Is the Czech driver as he flicks off the pit limiter now then. As he comes out on track. Where is Kulizek going to emerge? And he's going to come out in, it looks like 10th position. 11th position. As a lock-up there from his own teammate, that was. That was his own teammate, Broster, as Kulizek having to fend off a little bit there from Jacob Tobler in the Mahindra, but covers him off there. But he rejoins just behind his teammate in 11th place there, and just in front of his fellow compatriot, Jacob Tobler. As coming into the pits this lap will be Santino Andrioli in the Audi.
Yeah, but however, this is good news for Kulizek and Tobler. Those cars are undercutted, so they can easily undercut the cars in front as Decelli throws that down the inside of Tobler. There we go.
Move there. That's a good move for Decelli there to get up into 12th position, passed on Tobler there. As Ionescu's up into 14th position, as he's already passed Jaswant Kumar somewhere on the track, and now he wants Tobler in front. As now Ionescu tried to have a look to the inside there, but Tobler shutting the door as he will now approach the double right-hander. Of course, the indicator at the top indicating that his teammate Santino Andrioli is coming into the pits as Kumar fancies his chances, but Ionescu in the slipstream of Tobler. Is he going to get the move done into the double right-hander? Down the inside goes the pole sitter, and he gets it through. Is Jaswant Kumar going to follow by as well? And he is indeed. So Tobler losing 2 places there at the double right-hander.
Yes, indeed. But meanwhile, Decelli's trying to throw it down the inside of Kulizek. Decelli is absolutely just flying at the moment. Wow, I never thought...
Kulizek, of course, has already pitted, so that's not going to be good news in his fight with Andrioli and, of course, Prazan. And, of course, Andrioli is pitting this lap. Let's not forget, as we look back at him now then. And, of course, Santino Andrioli is pitting at the end of this lap. In fact, a few cars are, in fact, pitting this lap. So That's that really, as Koenig trying to find a way through on Leighton Aviard there, as Coach on Cheon, of course, he's pitting this lap, and Simon Shui is already pitted, but now into the pits comes Santino Andreoli in the Audi now then, as he pulls into his box now then. Let's see how quick the stop is going to be then for Santino Andreoli now then. As he puts on a fresh set of tyres. Puts on a fresh set of tyres and fuel, and Prazan is also into the pits as well for Jaguar, as is, I think that was Ross Denholm as well, who's in the pits. So those guys are in. No, it's Mocho who's in the pits, I do apologise. Mocho is also in the pits. Prazan finishes pit stop, as is Andreoli. Where do they come out in relation to Wojciech Kulesek? Let's see. As Andreoli is coming out of the pit lane, it is quite a slow exit of the pit lane. So where is he? And he's going to come out just in front of Kochi Cheon, which means that he has jumped Kulesek as Broster has just dive bombed the inside of Kochi Cheon there, and so has Mocho. Mocho has jumped Kulesek, so all that traffic has definitely cost Kulesek, Blake.
Yes, indeed. Definitely, especially Dichelli, and Dichelli is already on at the back of the Jaguar, trying to throw it into the chicanes, and my word, Dichelli is absolutely flying. Like I said before.
He is pitting this lap, though, of course. You've got to remember, Prazan is on very cold tyres, so obviously took advantage of that as Kumar has just come out of the pit lane there. But most importantly, both Andreoli, Prazan, and I think Mocho have jumped Kulesek in the pits there. And, bad news there for Virgin, and I fear that he could also get jumped by Enis Purachki as a result. Meanwhile, we are now looking at the Mahindra here of this is Kochi Cheon trying to get back at Alex Broster after he overtook him into first corner. We've got a yellow flag. And it's Jackson!
Oh, dear.
It's Brandon Jackson again! The man who led the championship before Road Atlanta yesterday has made contact with Owen Carpenter and he's out of the race.
Ian, what is Ian doing? He's caused an incident twice now. Jury, will there be a penalty?
Let's have a look as it looked like he just got his braking just crossed up there, going into the corner, and it's kind of 15-second time penalty for Owen Carpenter there, confirmed by Yuri Mata. So 15 seconds will be added to Carpenter's time at the end of the race there. But Jackson, once again, another retirement to his name. That's going to be a big hammer blow to his Drivers' Championship, that is for sure. And it does mean that Ionescu will stay in front of him after he got pole position earlier on today, of course. But meanwhile, back to the action. Purachki is pitting at the end of this lap. We've already seen that the likes of Andreoli, Prazan, and Mocho have already jumped Kulesek. I wonder if, in fact, Kulesek is still being put under pressure by a load of cars around him. I wonder if Purachki is going to be the next to jump him. Same goes for Carpenter, but of course Carpenter has got that penalty. It's Chelli who's pitting this lap, trying to have a go at Broster, but it's not going to be enough. As meantime, Purachki is now in the pits, and it's Purachki in the pits for Mercedes. So into the pits goes the Macedonian now then, and let's see how quick the Mercedes mechanics will be on this instance now then. As Tilsley's also into the pits for Jaguar now then, as Purachki finishes his pit stop now then. Luckily no hold-ups. It is quite a tight pit lane here at the Dodge Island Street Circuit. So let's see where Purachki is going to emerge then after this pit stop. As Kochi Cheon is now into the pits as well for Mahindra. So Purachki, where's he going to emerge in fact? As Andreoli, in fact, where is he? In fact, Andreoli and Prazan have already passed, and Purachki rejoins just in front of his teammate Michael Mocho. So yep, just like those guys, he's also jumped Wojciech Kulesek. It's been a disastrous stint there for Wojciech Kulesek, Blake.
The only can absolutely go well, or either could go two ways. One way could be either go for Ross, and the other way is go for Wojciech Kulesek. So yeah.
Look at this, Mocho on the inside of Purachki. Could this be a team order at Mercedes? Because he's now taking third place for Manish Purachki, and the championship leader, Michael Mocho, up into third place. But Purachki trying to stick with him there. But Mocho saying no to that, and he gets up to third. As now, Tobler wants a piece of the action, but Tobler is pitting this lap. So all this is doing is costing Purachki further time on this stint. Tobler, and he gets the move done straight away.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And also who's leading the race?
It's Santino Andreoli in the Audi.
All right. So I think that move on Prasan completely. That move on Prasan definitely make the race leader possible. And also behind, I
He's already-
see.
Oh, you were saying?
Sorry. I think there was a battle going on at the back, but at the moment, Frost is going to throw it on the inside, but to no avail. I think it was.
I was
one
going
of
to
those
say there as
periods.
well, because of that overtake you brought up, Andrew Early now has nearly a 6.5-second lead over Aji Prazan. As now down the inside goes Broster on Razan. Razan not making it too hard for him, and Broster gets the move done into the chicane.
Oh!
He's done it! Into the chicane there, he broke a little bit too late, and he's lost the place there, and Ionescu might want to try and get the place off him as well. Probably just went in a bit too hot there, Blake.
Yeah, they're trying to dive it down the inside. Maybe he hit something.
Oh, I think that was just a lock-up there. I think that was just a game doing that. I don't think there was a contact there. I think Broster just got in a little bit too hot. Let's have a look and see from Choi's perspective. And no, it was just
Yeah, it was just it's lock-up.
He just ran in a bit too hot there and has lost the place to Trey as a result, and might lose one to Ionescu if he can get the traction going into the second part of this bust-up chicane. But no, he's going to stick behind for the moment. Kumar fancied a look there, but had to back out of it at the last minute as Mocho is trying his best to close in on Aji Prazan in the fight for second place. All this is doing is helping Mocho get a bit of a gap in the championship.
Yes, especially Brandon Jackson being out. It would massively help.
Indeed, as now that is Kumar, no, that's Sana Choi now then getting by on Mohamed Razan for 12th place there. Choi has already made her pit stop as well, so of course she obviously missed out on points yesterday after her throttle decided to break down on her yesterday to force her to pit as Jacob Tobler comes into the pit. So could she try and get some points here today as vengeance for yesterday? We'll have to wait and see. Her next target is Dominic Cicelli, and I think she will get out in front of the person who's in the pits, which is Jacob Tobler. In fact, Tobler finishes his pit stop now.
I think there's two people in the pit. There's two people, I think.
In fact, I think Tobler's actually going to... No, is it? Yes, he is going to come out in front of Sana Choi as Razin takes full advantage of that and gets back on the inside of Sana Choi and gets up into 12th. And now Broster wants the position as well from the Korean driver, but thinks better of it as he's still stuck in a Neo sandwich at the moment as Ionescu has actually lost the place to Koenig. Meanwhile, Koenig up into 16th position as well. So it's now Koenig on the inside of Just Want Kumar now in the fight for 15th. And not going to be able to get the place there. And so far, Koenig and Ionescu clearly struggling with all this traffic in front of them at the moment as they try and make their way back up into the points. Chicelli now on the back of Kochi Chion now then as the Mahindra and the Nissan go side by side down this back straight as Chicelli got the move done. And no, Chion is just going to stay in front for the moment now then as they come down the straight before approaching the double right-handers. Koenig now on the inside of Just Want Kumar now then. As, again, not able to get the move done. He's already got a bit of a gap to Ionescu, but Ionescu will close back in as a result of him trying to have a go at Kumar there. And Ionescu, will he try and go for it into the double right-hander? As Koenig now then looks to the inside of Kumar. It could be free wide here. Ionescu's having a look as well. Down the inside, Kumar goes wide. Is Koenig going to slip through on the inside? He is. Up into 15th place goes the German. He goes a little bit more wide. Or does he? No, Kumar around the outside. He goes for the double right-hander. They've also brought Aviard into this as well, as they're going to go nearly free wide into the air. In fact, Aviard on the inside of Ionescu going into the chicane, but Ionescu just had enough there as he has a big lockup going into the bust-up chicane there, does Ionescu. That's not going to do his tyres any good whatsoever. As now Cicelli on the back of Kochi Chion now then in their fight for 9th position. He's going to go onto the inside down towards the Pirelli warehouse now then. Down towards the right hand we go as Carpenter is taking 7 from Tilsley. So where's Cicelli now on the inside and he's up into 9th position. P9 for Dominic Cicelli is just in front of them. Just in front of them, Carpenter takes 7 for Tilsley's contact between Razan and Choi now then. Will Choi take full advantage? Can she do a bump and run on Razan as they try and go side by side? But Razan just going to hold on for the moment now then. And he's going to hold on to that 12th position as we look at Andrioli. He's got a massive 9.1 second lead in front. He is just flying out in front of the moment as Koenig has got 15th now off of Just Want Kumar. So he's now up into 15th position. But yeah, Andrioli currently dominating at the moment, Blake.
Yes, and also there's some battles at the back between second place and... I think there's battle for second place, as they see in the mini-map.
Meanwhile, Broster has got 13 from Choi, but Choi wants the position back down into turn 1. Down the inside goes the Neo driver, and Choi gets to move back on the inside and grabs back 13th place off of Alex Broster, as now Koenig is in the fight as well for that 13th position, as Andrioli continues to build the lead out in front. Meanwhile, Mocho only 0.8 seconds now behind Aji Prazan as he's trying to close in that battle for second place now then in this race. As now we look at Broster, who's trying to get back at Sana Choi if he can, but also dragging along Marvo Koenig with him as well. Kumar and Ionescu are also not far behind as well, just behind this lot as well, as they come down towards to where this back straight is. I think all the cars have now made a mandatory pit stop, so they're all going to be making a blast towards the end of the race. There's now Koenig on the inside now then of Alex Broster as they go side by side down the back straight. I think he might already get the move done if he can get the overlap in time. Side by side go the pair.
Nope.
No, Broster just stays in front for the moment. And Kumar, could he take advantage of that? Because he is behind Koenig at the moment. There he is, you can see in the mirrors. Kumar on the inside now of Koenig as they go down towards the double right-hander now then. In towards the double right-hander we go. And Kumar retakes 15th now from Koenig. Is Ionescu going to follow through? No, he's not. He's going to hang back for the moment as they come out of that double right-hander now then. And now heading towards the bus stop chicane now then on the racetrack. This long bus stop chicane. Koenig looking to the inside now then of just want Kumar in towards the beginning of the bus stop, and no, tucks back for the moment as Ionescu has now also got Aviard behind him as well as they now come through the bus stop now then. And so far it's not been a good race for Ionescu after he got punted by Enis Paratsky on the first lap of the race there. And so that's that really. 9.4 seconds gap as Prazan has got Mocho all over the back of him there. Then Mocho tried to have a go at him there into the chicane, but Prazan holds on to it there. And well, Mocho definitely lapping quicker than Prazan at the moment, it's fair to say, Blake.
Yes, and Mocho was trying to go around the outside, but that was an ideal move from Mocho. He lost a lot of seconds there. But meanwhile, Laviard is just trying to go down the inside of Robert Ionescu via before the Pirelli warehouse, but no.
Not able to do that this time by, and Ionescu is just going to hold on. And because of that back out that Mocho had to do, that's created a bit of a gap to Prazan that Mocho is going to have to catch back up to. As meantime, Koenig trying to get back at Kumar after he overtook him on the previous lap, and this has now allowed a gap form between themselves and Shui and Broster, who are just in front. Meanwhile, Denholm having a very good race in 5th place at the moment. He's also another guy that jumped Kulizek in the pit stops. It shows how bad of a stint Kulizek had after he made his pit stop on lap 16. He's not that far away, in fact, from Enis Paratsky. He's only 1.3 behind him at the moment in the Venturi. So we'll be interested to see how this one transpires.
There's yellow flag.
Down at turn 1, who is it? And it's Ionescu again. It looks like Ionescu's got himself involved in another collision down into turn 1 as let's have a look. He was on the back of Jaswant Kumar. It looks like... yeah, he clipped the back of him, probably just a little bit too ambitious there. And Kumar, luckily, didn't get into the barriers there. As in fact, Aviard also got Koenig, and Koenig took the pair of them there, really. But I think a little bit too ambitious there for Ionescu, Blake.
Yeah. Yes, sirree, Bob. And looks like the Robert Ionescu is trying to go for a full-on ambitious dive bomb, but it doesn't even work. And Lars Choi is just trying to get the Porsche in front of him.
Razan, as we just saw that Carpenter, in fact, was actually starting to close in on Kulizek, so we could have another fight for 6th in our hands. As meanwhile, as Choi tried to have a go at Razan there, didn't quite work out there. As tried to have a go, and now she gets back in the slipstream of Razin. Can she get the move done into the double right hander? Danny inside, goes Sana Shui in the Neo now, then Danny inside, trying to put Razin in the compromised position as they go side by side. There's Broster just behind as well. Razin just going to hang it around the outside. Here comes Broster, trying to have a go as well, trying to see if he could take advantage of the traction there from Trey. Not going to quite work out, and I think they're all going to stay single file going into this bus stop chicane, are they? Although Broster tried to have a go around the outside there. Shana Chue covering the inside, going into the chicane there, and holds on to 13th position as it's over 11 seconds as Carpenter's taking 6th from Kulizek. So over to P6 goes Owen Carpenter in the DS Cheetah, and in fact he's got him just at the Pirelli warehouse there. So over to P6 goes the Irishman Owen Carpenter there then. So that's P6 for him as he's looking to try and get some more points in that DS Cheetah. As now Ionescu trying to ensure that the red in his helmet is not going to get in the way of him there. He's now trying to get back at Dumel right now as we are on lap 13 of 21 now then. As the leader, Santina Andrioli. In fact, you can just see how big of a gap he's got to Praz, and he's already coming up towards where the back straight is. He's having a very dominant race out in front. He's Andrioli looking to try and get Audi's second victory of the season as Ionescu, speaking of Audi's, trying to have a go at Dumal coming out of the warehouse there, but it didn't quite work out. And Mocho now under a second behind Aji Prazan as he tries to get back onto the gearbox of the Indonesian, who's right on board with the championship leader for a brief second there as they now come down towards the start-finish straight. Go most of them now. There's Broster on the inside of Sana Trey in the Neo, Danny inside, but Trey going to hold on to that P13 position at the moment now then, as Koenig tries to have a go at Broster into the chicane, but Broster covers him off there then, as they go through turns 2, 3 and 4, pretty tidily there, as they now make their way down this back straight now then, as we now look at Ticelli, who's now on the back of Jake Tilsley now then, in this fight for 8th position now then, coming around the left, then the right, and then into the left and right hand as we go, as Ticelli tries to have a go at Tilsley there, not going to quite work out, and maybe trying to have a go at him down onto the double right-hander now then, as Ticelli in the switch, he's going to go to the inside of Tilsley. Down the inside goes the Italian who got his first podium last time out in Road Atlanta yesterday, and he gets P8 from Tilsley. Up to P8 goes Dominic Ticelli in the Nissan there then, as Tilsley loses another place as a result. As we look back at Andrioli, who's got a 13.4 second cushion over this fight for second that's going on between Prazan and Macho right now. Then 0.8 seconds was the gap last time by between the pair of them, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's come down just a little bit as a result. Macho now then comes towards the Pirelli warehouse now then. The pair of them go now, as they just missed the curb on the inside, go the pair of them now then, as they now make their way out of the warehouse now then, and now coming around the final 5 corners on the racetrack through the first of the 5th to last corner there, and now into the final 4 corners they go on the racetrack, and let's see if Macho can try and get the place of a Prazan, and well, it's getting quite close again for that battle for second place, and Macho maybe trying to line him up for a pass into turn 1. Let's see as they come down the pitch. Ticelli has taken Tilsley up to 8th place, goes Dominic Ticelli in the Nissan, and that's P8 for him there then, as now they come down the pitch lane. You see Prazan preparing for an attack there, as Broster has now got Chue for 13th position, and Andrioli currently in the lead at the moment with still a big lead in front, as Macho tried to have a go into the chicane there, but Prazan covers him off there, as Ionescu has got Aviard and Demel to get up into 17th position, as Ticelli now looking around the outside of Kulizek. Could be an impressive move if he pulls this one off, but Kulizek, in fact, he's trying to hang it around the outside as they now come towards the chicane, but Kulizek just going to hold on there. I thought he was going to pull that off for a minute, Blake. Blake, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
I thought he was going to pull it off for a minute. There's all contact
dear.
Between Broster and Razin, and that's a bump. That classes as a bump and run in the GP4 books, and that's P12 for Broster. As Chue trying to take full advantage of that, but can't get the move done. Koenig and Kumar also in the fight now as a result. But yeah, that classes as a bump and run in our books in the OC, and that's P12 for Alex Broster. As now Kumar and Koenig trying to have a go at Chue there, but couldn't quite get the move done. That nearly bottlenecked there going into turns 5 and 6 there. So it's kind of that really. As now coming around the section of corners now, then we go. As now Koenig trying to get a hold of Chue if he can now then, as they come down the back straight now then for the 14th time today. Down the inside goes Marvo Koenig. Is it going to be P14 for Marvo Koenig? Just trying to keep an eye on what's going on in that battle for second. It's still kind of averaging between 0.8 and 0.9. The moment Koenig has to back out, and Kumar says thank you very much. Takes advantage. Teamwork there for the 2 Neo drivers, and now Kumar wants to get his teammate now for 14th for Ticelli has taken 7th place now from Kulizek. So Kulizek just dropping backwards, and up into P7 goes Ticelli as Kumar takes 14th there from Chue, and now can Koenig try and follow through as well in the BMW, and Ionescu now in the fight as well as he tries to find a way through on Koenig there, and so is Aviard. In fact, Ionescu had to back up so much that Aviard took full advantage and takes 17th there as they make their way through into the bus stop chicane now then. So yeah, kick off towards the back. Kulizek trying to retake 7th for Ticelli. There's contact there between the pair of them. That's also put Tilsley and Kochi Cheon into that. Tilsley retakes 8th as a result. Is Cheon going to grab 9th from Ticelli? Nope, Ticelli fends off there. And, well, it's all kicking off really, isn't it, Blake?
Yeah, I think everything is kicking off in Miami. And Kulizek is just trying to mount that to match defense against Tilsley. But at the moment, it's not doing very well as Tilsley tries as much curb as he can, trying to get as much power as he can. Down the back straight he goes, but he might get compromised when he gets in behind, which is one of my favourites. Ticelli going down the inside, Jake Tilsley, and he's done it. Yes, he has. Ticelli's up into 8th place. That's a brilliant move by Ticelli.
Taking the place there from Tilsley there, and that's P8 for the Italian as he tries to chase back after Wojtek Kulizek in front there, who is just struggling on this stint, it's fair to say, after a very good first stint where he was leading the race. It's now just back to reality for the Czech driver, as now they come towards the left-hander before they go right into the back straight now then. So going around this right-hander they're coming up to now then, as Kochi Cheon losing touch a little bit to the guys in 9th position, as Kumar now then trying to have a go at that's Koenig is trying to have a go. In fact, Koenig has got Kumar unseen by the camera, so he's got up into 14th position there. Here's Marvo Koenig, and now just coming around this section of corners now. Then as Chue is actually up on a pistol back, so they've got flag is Mocho and Prazan. They've both made contact into the chicane there, and well, Prazan is going to lose places. Hand over fist as he's waiting for a gap in the traffic, which he has found, and he's only going to drop to 6th position. He's still in the points, but that's the podium gone for the Indonesian driver. Macho already got him. In fact, Macho already got him, in fact, so it just looked like the Prazan just ran into the back of him. So where did Macho actually get him then? Because he passed him early on.
Yeah.
Was that the double right-hander? It was at the double right-hander Macho got him. So, yeah, they just looked like the Prazan was just being a little bit clumsy there, Blake.
I think Prazan tried too hard, tried to get down the inside. He should have waited, but he took all his eggs in one basket, and look what he's done. And now Dunholm in a Venturi. Look at him. He's absolutely flying in the Venturi, which is quote-unquote a back marker team.
Well, Ticelli's dropped to 11th position, in fact. He's actually been swarmed somewhere, because he's now down into 11th, and now the two Mahindras are into the points now. Tobler and Cheong are both into the points now. Cheong was already into the points, but he's now up to 9th. I wonder what happened to Ticelli there just a little bit earlier on, because he's now down in 11th position. In fact, he was up in 8th, so he's been muggled 3 times there. I wonder if it all happened down at that double right-hander. We're seeing a lot, but meantime, Tobler on the inside of his teammate, Koichi Cheong, as Tilsley trying to look to the inside of Kolazek into the Pirelli warehouse there. Not going to quite work out there. As meanwhile, Tobler has got the place now for Cheong, so he's now up into 9th position there. So P9 going to him there as a result, as Tobler just goes around out of the Pirelli warehouse there, as they now make their way towards the final few turns on the racetrack as this battle continues on. Nick 14th, meanwhile, Xavier tried to have a go there as Sana Chue into the Pirelli warehouse there, as Coach on Cheon trying to have a go at Demal for 19th in the Pirelli warehouse there, but not going to quite work out there for the brother of Kochi there, Coach on Cheon, as now look at we now look at Just Want Kumar now then in the Neo, who's just coming around the final chicane, losing touch now to Marvo Koenig in front, who's actually on the back of Mohamed Razin in front.
There's a massive traffic. There's a giant train for second place. Look at this on the mini map.
Is there a massive train, or is that for? No, I don't think that's for second. That's actually for 7th that we're looking at there.
Sorry.
I looked at that wrong there. But yes, there is a massive train forming for 7th place there as Tilsley. In fact, is actually past Kulazek unseen by the cameras. He's actually now taken 7th from Wojtek Kulazek now then, as now the two Czech drivers are fighting for 8th position, Kulazek and Tobler now then, as Tobler wants to get a hold of his fellow compatriot for P8 now then, as Tobler looks to the inside now then of Wojtek Kulazek as it goes side by side through into these sections of corners, can't quite get the move done, and now Koichi Cheon wants to try and get his teammate back for 9th position. Clearly no team odds at Mahindra, and they're also dragging Ticelli back into this fight now then, as Koichi Cheon now then trying to look to the inside of Tobler, but Tobler is stuck in the slipstream of Ticelli, of Kulazek, and that's going to keep him in front of Cheon as a result. Out of the double right-hander we go now then. Tilsley starting to break away from this train as a result of the battle, as now Tobler trying to look to the inside of Wojtek Kulazek into the chicane. Can he get the move done into the chicane? And there's contact. Oh no!
Yo, it's upside down!
Upside down goes Wojtek Kulazek, and that's damage for the Mercedes the Nissan of Ticelli there, and damage for Wojtek Kulazek. And his race has gone down the toilet, and somehow, because of the fact that this damage model is still not 100% complete yet, it does mean he does survive somehow, but he has got damage, but his race has gone down the toilet really, and pretty much he had gone down the toilet since this stint, Blake.
Yeah, basically after the same one, his racing was basically over, and Tobler was a bit clumsy. Throws the car over. And
Czech driver warfare happening between Tobler and Kulazek there, and 2-1 just wasn't going to go. They clearly, both of them, didn't want to give up the place, and well, as a result, this is what happens when you don't give up.
Yeah, that was a Czech civil war. They're going to have a massive check of words back in the paddock.
Yeah, indeed, but Kulazek, of course, survives, but he is going to have to pit for a brand new front wing, and well, his race down the toilet, so no points are going to happen to Kulazek this time by, and it did mean that Ticelli also got damage from that as well, because he caught some debris as well, I believe, so he's going to have to pit for damage as well, so that's going to shuffle the points pecking positions as a result, and so that's kind of that really, and I think it might even spread out the that pack as a result, so yeah, it might space it out, and because of that, as well as Kulizek is having to tow back into the pits there, well, tour round back into the pit lane there, as everybody just trying to fizzle their way through the pack. And Ionescu trying to take full advantage of that as he now is going to try and overtake Aviard into the Pirelli warehouse. Is he going to get the move done? And the answer to that is yes, he does. So he takes the place off of Leighton Aviard there going into the corner. And you can just tell how dominant Andrioli has been.
Did you mic cut out, mate?
There we go. My Discord there decided to have a moment there on my end. So apologies for that.
Oh, Jesus!
Aviard's gone around! Is that because of the pit lane entrance there? Aviard has gone around just as my Discord decided to reconnect there. Aviard has had a moment there, and let's see what happened, really. So, he kind of misjudged that, did Aviard, and, well, I don't think he was expecting, what's his name, Tobler to come into the pits there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit stupid from October. He should have looked in his mirrors, but...
The pit lane entrance for you in Grand Prix 4, it does these things. But
yeah.
Anyway, well, either way, I think both could have played a part in that, you could say. But either way, Aviard's race has gone down the toilet as a result, as Tobler, Kulizek, and of course Tucelli come in to repair their damages. So that puts them out of the points. If you look back at Andrioli, who's got, look at that, a 21.5-second lead over Michael Mocho. And, well, this has so far been a dominant drive from the Frenchman so far. And, well, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he could be looking at a very, very popular victory here. As it looks like so far, I think because of all of that, Paratsky is, with all of that with Prazan that happened earlier on, Paratsky is now onto the podium. So we could be even looking at a Mercedes double podium here. And because of Ionescu out of the points, I can tell you for a fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I'm trying to think. In fact, Andrioli still has the fastest lap, doesn't he? So I'm trying to work that out in my head, actually, what that does to the Teams Championship. And if I'm not mistaken, both Audi and Mercedes are going to be tied on points at the top of the standings, with Audi leading it, of course, on a countback of wins. They'll have 2 wins compared to Mercedes' 1, of course. So I think at the moment, as it stands, both Audi and Mercedes will be tied at the top of the Teams Championship if it stays like this.
Yes. Yes, I think this will be a good name for Mercedes in the office, and it could have been a good name in the office for Audi, but Robert Ionescu is not points. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Ionescu is not going to get any points. But one man who is going to get points from a comeback is Marvo Koenig, because of everything that's happened. After everything that happened to him at the start, he's now found himself back in the points, and now he's up into 10th place. But it only looks like that BMW, thanks to Jackson's, once again, Jackson retiring from the race, it only looks like that Koenig's going to get 1 solitary point out of this race. So disappointment there for him as a result. So BMW really need to fight back in 2 weeks' time, which will be at Portimao, of course. As meantime, Mocho up on his personal best in the first sector. He's actually gaining a bit on Andrioli. The gap down to 21.6 seconds, but it's obviously not going to be enough because that's. I'm going to be honest. In 4 laps, I think 21.6 seconds is going to be too big to catch.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just no way that's I don't see it at this point because he's way too far away, and whilst everyone else was tripping over themselves.
Yeah, indeed, and so that's kind of that. Really is Chio. We might as well talk about him as well. Started down in last place, and he's in 8th place at the moment. He's had a very good race today, and looking good to get his first ever points at the moment.
Yeah, and also especially over that stint. Okay, sorry, my mic is going to have a moment there. He's looking pretty good he's actually looking pretty good after the first stint because he had made contact with someone. But meanwhile, Ian Carpenter will have a go at his British most compatriot.
Well, not quite compatriot because he's from Republic of Ireland and Denholm's from Scotland. So obviously,
British Wales. British Wales.
Yeah. So. Avoid Evan when you get a chance, Blake, because I think he's going to catch on to that comment. But anyway, either way, commenter now on the inside of Ross Denholm. We're getting them all confused now. And he gets the place. Up into P4 goes Owen Carpenter. Brilliant race from Carpenter, considering he had to kind of step up, really, after Kwan's mechanical failure earlier on in the race. But we've got 3 laps to go here at the Miami ePrix for Santino Andrioli. And so far, it's looking good for the Frenchman, so long as he doesn't have any mechanical failures, knock on wood. And I say that with knock on wood because if you remember last season, of course, we had, I think it was Eduardo Silva leading the race here last season in the Jaguar, or Samat Oskan. It was one of the 2 Jaguars that was was leading the race, and they broke down with just a few laps to go, handing the victory in the end to. Oh no, in fact, it wasn't them. It was somebody else. I can't remember who it was. But either way. Sorry, he was leading the race and then he broke down and on the final lap of the race. Ian Eskew, meanwhile, has taken P12 from, I think that was Mohamed Razan.
Oh yeah, and also Joe, I need to tell you that Ian Carpenter's got a 15-second penalty.
Yes, I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, so whilst he's got P4 on the road, he won't be staying there at the moment. He does have the 15-second time penalty, so we'll keep an eye on where that will put him in a little bit when the timing page comes back onto him, and then we'll work it out from there. Well, providing it still has the times, of course, down the bottom of your screen. But anyway, as we look at Macho now, he's looking pretty lonely now in second place. He's putting the gap now to Prachki as the gap is up to 5.4 seconds. He's still gaining a bit, I think, on Andrioli, or is he? I might be wrong on that. It's 22.1 seconds. In fact, I think Andrioli is starting to increase the gap a little bit. So I think the top three just basically pacing themselves at the moment to the finish. Well, let's have a look then. So he's 1.1 to Denholm at the moment. That's the gap between Carpenter and Denholm at the moment. Let's see what everybody else is doing, and we'll just add it up from there. 6.8, so around 7. I think at the moment he's going to be around about 8th or 9th if it stays like this. So I think he's still going to get some points if it stays like this, but not as many as he would do if he didn't get a penalty, Blake.
Yeah, yes indeed. Yes indeed. If he didn't made some clumsy driving, he'll be a P4 on the road. But you know he needs to make some moments. But you know he just put the onward part and didn't go so well.
Indeed so, as meanwhile Macho just coming underneath the warehouse now then, the Pirelli warehouse, as we're now onto the penultimate lap of the race for Santino Andrioli, and he's just basically got to cruise it to the finish really to take, well, his first win in quite a while in Formula E. In fact, I'm going to check to see, because I'm not sure if he's ever had I don't think he won a race it when he was in what was originally known as GP2 last season, and no he didn't. And the last time he won, of course, was in 2019, of course, at the Valencia ePrix in 2019. In fact, on that particular occasion, we saw Amelia Wilson become the first female to win an OC championship in that race as well, and that was the last time Andrioli had won a race as well, which was enough to get him into GP2. But of course, a disastrous season put him out for GP2 drive, and he's ended up back here and basically looking for revenge. And so far, he's he's had podiums in 2 of the last 3 races. He's going to make it 3 out of 4 at the moment. Is the Frenchman, and looking very, very strong. In fact, I'm going to see what this does to his championship at the moment. I'm just going to quickly double check. I know that Macho is still going to lead the championship, of course, because he's running in second place. But what does this do to Andrioli? I'm just going to have a quick check here, because I still think he's got the fastest lap, if I'm not mistaken. So
he's still
got the fastest lap. So in fact, if I'm correct, he's actually going to go up to second in the championship if it stays like this. With Ian Eskew and Jackson not scoring today, it looks like Andrioli is going to get himself up to second in the championship and become Macho's new nearest rival, providing that nothing happens, of course. And he's still increasing the lead at the moment. 23.1 seconds is the gap at this point in time, as they're all starting their penultimate laps as we speak. As we look back now at Andrioli, who's just coming down the back straight for the penultimate time and heading towards the Pirelli warehouse for the penultimate time, I should say. Just coming around this little double right-hander, as he now rounds the right-hander now. Then goes the Frenchman, as he will now make his way towards the left-hander now. Then we'll go Santino Andrioli in the Audi as he just comes around the left-hander now then, and towards the final few turns on the racetrack, flicking it in for the left and then into the right-hander he will go, as he will now approach final chicane now then, as he flicks it in for the left and the right, and Santino Andrioli is about to start his final lap of the Miami ePrix, this 2-minute lap. The final lap has been started now for Santino Andrioli, and what a race it has been for him, Blake.
Hopefully he gets it. Only thing I'm hopefully is he makes it to the end, because we know what happened last year. Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Yes, and so that's that really, and 23 seconds the gap between himself and Michael Macho, and he's just got to bring it home, and he will take his first win since 2019 as he now rounds the left-hander now then for the final time, as it looks like the top 10 positions have now started to settle out a little bit, apart from Carpenter. Of course, we need to check where Carpenter's going to end up after the penalty has been applied as well, so that's obviously something to keep an eye on as well, and we'll look at that when we get to the race results as well. No point doing it here, we might as well look at the race results, because luckily Nobody has been lapped in this race, so we can check that. It's the Chelly at the back, just for pride, has got 17th now off of Leighton Aviar, but it's not going to make that much difference to his points tally at all in this race, as he got damaged a little bit earlier on after the collision that happened between the two Czech drivers of Wojtek Kulazek and, of course, Jacob Tobler. As meanwhile, Andrioli is now coming up towards the bus stop chicane for the 21st and final time, as he now rounds the left and then into the right-hander, passing the crates that are just either side of him there, the shipping containers that are just either side of him there. As we've got a yellow flag, in fact, down at turn 1. We've got a yellow flag, and it's Razan and Trey now then at the low reaches of the point. So it looks like those two have made a collision there, and have lost the plate. In fact, no, it was actually Demal who just basically just came out of nowhere and just punted the side of Razan. It looked like Trey being a kind driver there, helping Razan steer the other way and keep 14th place there. So very generous there from Sana Trey. But either way, back to the action now then, as we now look at Santino Andrioli now then, who makes his way into the Pirelli warehouse for the 21st and final time. He's just got a few more corners to go before he can celebrate. Round the left-handers, Ionescu's now in the points. So scrap that, Ionescu is now in the points. As a result, he's got Koenig somewhere. So up into 10th place goes Robert Ionescu. In fact, Koenig has dropped 2 places. It looks like those two. In fact,
he's got an engine failure or
Has
something.
he got a problem? Has Koenig got a problem? Well, yes. Oh no, Mocho's got a problem as well. Mocho's got an engine failure as well. Comes down the pit straight, and Santino Andrioli, meanwhile, is going to win the Miami Prix. Andrioli
Okay, I'm going to say, let me say the line. The Miami Cursor strikes again. Ah, what an absolute disaster for the Mercedes team. And Michael Mocho.
Can he make it to the end, though? That's the question. It looks like he might lose a place to Parachki, as Parachki goes by him there, and he's slowing. In fact, he's not going to stop it. He stopped. His car gave up on him just at the end. The championship leader, his engine has died on the final lap, just as we cut away from Andrioli crossing the line there. Parachki gets second. Carpenter is going to get a podium as a result of that. Denholm is going to cross the line in 4th position. Did anything happen to... we think that something might have happened as well to Koenig on the final lap as well.
Yeah.
Because he dropped back places as well.
Yellow.
There's Mocho. In fact, Mocho's trying to crawl to the finish. Can he make it to the finish? Let's see. As he keeps crawling, where is the line? We might as well just ride on board with him. Koenig has got a problem. We have to get to him first before we get to the end of the race. As where is Koenig? We might need.
He's on the main straight. He's on the main straight.
No, Koenig. I'm on about Koenig. He had a problem as well with.
No. Koenig's on the back straight. Koenig's on the back straight. On the replay.
We haven't had a replay of him. He's somewhere. There he is. He's pulled off. He hasn't made it. So what's his issue? We need to have a look, because Koenig has retired as well in the last lap, looking certain for points. 2 breakdowns on the final lap of the race there. Let's see what the problem was. We look on the steering wheel and just keep an eye on it with all the dirt that's on his visor. What is the issue for him, as we're looking at now, and he hasn't got the problem. Now he has, and it is a gearbox issue. It's a gearbox issue that's taking care of Marvin Koenig, and that's where Mocho's engine actually gave up just as we were coming into the bus stop chicane there. So the question is, though, can he crawl it to the finish, though? I don't think he's going to get any points as a result, but can he crawl it to the finish? That's going to be the question mark out of that.
Yeah.
And, well, that's that. Ionescu has picked up points after all, and, Mocho's engine just decided to give up on him right at the end there. But is he going to crawl it to the finish? Let's see, as he's not far from the finish line, is Mocho. And where is Mocho now then? Is he going to cross the... Has he crossed the line? I can't see from that distance. We need to get on board with him if we can. No. He's still crawling. He's still crawling at the moment as Tobler goes by him. Is Mocho going to get a chance to cross the line? Oh. He's still crawling. No, his engine is completely shut off. And, Mocho is not going to cross the line. So, he's going to be classified in 18th. 19th, in fact, because there's one more car crossing the line. That's Kulazek. He takes 18th. But, wow, what a crazy end to the race. 2 breakdowns on the final lap. But it is Santino Andrioli who takes his first win since the 2019 Valencia ePrix. And, how about that then? The final results of the race. Santino Andrioli wins. Enis Parachki in second, with Owen Carpenter in third. Ross Denholm in fourth. Aji Prazan.
Yeah, he's got a penalty.
Yes, of course, he's got a penalty. So that podium that I mentioned earlier is not going to happen for him. Denholm is, in fact, going to get his first podium. Ross Denholm in the Venturi has got a podium instead. So 48 seconds. He's actually dropped down to 5th. So Carpenter only drops to 5th with his penalty there. So Prazan will get promoted to 4th, Carpenter 5th, Tilsley in 6th, with Kochi Cheon getting his first ever points in 7th, Alex Poster 8th, Robert Ionescu 9th, Jaswant Kumar in 10th, with Rafael Demal 11th, Mohamed Razin in 12th, Sana Chue in 13th, with Dominic Ticelli in 14th, Kochon Cheon in 15th, Leighton Aviard 16th, Jacob Tobel 17th, Wojciech Kulizek in 18th, with Michael Mocho in 19th, and I think, I could be wrong on this, but because of his breakdown on the last lap, I think he might actually lose the lead in the championship to Andrioli. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But I think Andrioli might now lead the championship as a result. Koenig classified in 20th, meaning that the classified retirements are Brandon Jackson and the Nguyen Min Kwan. And the fastest lap of the race, I think, was still Andrioli, and it was. Andrioli gets the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race at 2 minute 13.897. The Audis were quick because Ionescu was only 500s off of him. But wow, what a crazy end to the race there, Blake.
Yeah. Yeah, even though there's no battle for the lead, but my God, that was the... Oh my goodness me, I've never seen an end to an F Formula E race. Well, you know, I've seen it 2 days ago, obviously, but wow, I've never thought this is the most craziest race. So basically, Mocho lost a load of points, and Venturi gets the first podium of the season, and Denholm, I mean, congratulations to him. He takes his first podium of the OC as a whole. Congratulations to the Scotsman.
Yes, indeed. So, congratulations to Denholm on that podium. Carpenter dropping to 5th thanks to his 15-second time penalty. Well, there you have it then. That has been it from the Miami ePrix, and that is it from the American doubleheader as well. Very exciting 2 races indeed. We had an exciting race yesterday in Atlanta and a very crazy ending to the Miami ePrix here today at Dodge Island. So, that's really that, really. But that has been it then, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, we're not done with live streams for today because coming up at 7 p.m. BST, so in just over 2 and a bit hours time, we of course have the Formula 2 qualifying session taking place at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for their Spanish Grand Prix. So do look out for that at 7 p.m. BST. And of course, during the week, we of course have top class action as well from the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya as well for their Spanish Grand Prix. The next Formula E race, of course, will be in 2 weekends' time. So not this weekend that's coming up, the next weekend, and it will be at the popular Autodromo Internacional do Algarve in Portugal for the running of the Portimao ePrix, the first of 2 Portuguese races, although we won't have a Portuguese doubleheader. Those 2 will be in 2 different weekends. But anyway, the Portimao ePrix will be in 2 weeks' time. Of course, this coming weekend, we have World Champ Car action coming up at the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for round 4 of the championship. So that should be a very exciting race as well. But until then, and of course we also have DTM this weekend as well at Silverstone. But until then, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been J97. He's been Blake Moore. I need to catch my breath after that amazing final lap. And we will see you guys, well, very soon. Till then, take care.